Okay, so we're starting Hatchet today. Before we get started, I'm going to pass out for sit and seat.
You're gonna pass out one.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Put your name at the top.
Is this already in mine? Can you just have, because I don't have a little bit of.
Okay, so this is called a conversation calendar. It's something new I wanted to try with you all. So we'll start today, Tuesday. So we will read chapter 1 together as a class today. And then the point of this conversation calendar is to get you talking about the book, whether it's you thought something was cool or you thought something was confusing, but I want you to write that down. So as we're reading chapter 1, if you think of something that you want to talk about, like maybe a word that you didn't understand or something along those lines, write it in that box that says student. So the first set of boxes, and then you will hand it into me tomorrow when class starts. And I will reply, back to your comment or your question about Hatchet. And it'll be like a conversation. It's like a text message, but on paper. So write your name on the top of that paper and put it to the side for now. So we are starting Hatchet today, and before we get started, I'm going to read a little bit about Gary Paulson, who is the author. You guys, I'm sure, have read other books by him, or maybe have even read Hatchet before, or you have had it read to you in elementary school, maybe. Gary Paulson decided to become a storyteller when he was 13 while working on his uncle's farm. One afternoon, his cousins and he rode their horses to a quiet field. As the horses grazed, Paulson made up a story about a boy who was riding a horse and a girl who thought the boy was a cowboy. When he stopped, one cousin asked what happened next. Paulson shrugged, saying it was just a story. The cousin replied that it was a good story and that he had better finish it or else. Paulson suddenly realized that people wanted to hear the stories he could tell, that there was an audience for his stories. Before becoming a professional writer, however, Paulson held many other jobs, including teacher, soldier, actor, director, farmer, truck driver, trapper, professional archer, singer, and sailor. So he did a lot of things before that. After he realized he could be paid for writing on subjects that he enjoyed, he took a job as a magazine editor to develop his writing skills. From that beginning, Paulson had gone on to tell good stories for almost 3 decades. His books include picture books for children, adventure tales, how-to books, and novels for adults. Some of his books, like Hatchet, combine how-to elements with adventure, as you will see when you read the novel. We'll have to find out. So open up your book and turn to page 1. I'm going to read the first page and then I'll have volunteers read it. Yep. Brian Robeson stared out the window of a small plane at the endless green northern wilderness below. It was a small plane, a Cessna 406, a bush plane, and the engine was so loud, so roaring and consuming and loud that it ruined any chance for conversation. Not that he had to say much. He was 13 and the only passenger on the plane, with a pilot named, Jim or Jake or something, who was in his mid-40s and who had been silent as he worked to prepare for takeoff. In fact, since Brian had come to the small airport in Hampton, New York, to meet the plane, driven by his mother, the pilot had spoken only 5 words to him. How many volunteers for page 2?
Get in the co-pilot seat, which Brian had named his which Brian had done. They had taken off, and that was the last of the conversation. There had been the
Initial?
initial excitement, of course. He had never flown in a single engine plane before, and to so fast.
Okay. So what do we know about Brian? Hayden.
His family's divorced and he's on a plane.
Okay, so we just found out that someone in his family is divorced or going through divorce, and he's thinking about it a lot. He's on a plane. Do we know where he's going yet, or who he's going to see? Nope. All we know is he's on a plane with the pilot, whose name is Jake or Jim. Okay, Waylon, I'm gonna stop you right there. Chapter 1, you need to read that tonight and fill out your conversation calendar that I'll collect tomorrow when class starts before you guys go to do testing.
We don't have any questions. We don't have that.
Then you need to write something down.